I try to start out usually by trying to make a relationship with my subject and not come in there like a journalist with 30 questions and a notepad and a tape recorder, but to say, hi, I'm Lane, and I have to ask them how old they are, so I usually tell them I'm 45 years old, and I want to know about their life, so I want to share a little bit about mine. I think it makes them feel like I'm a person, not just a reporter, and maybe feel a little bit of a human connection with them, so I'll tell them about my kids or my dogs or what I do and what I'm interested in. But I also tell them what I want. I'm trying to do a story about you because of this, or I want to spend this much amount of time with you so that they feel a little bit more comfortable about what it is I want from them. But I want them to usually drive the bus at first. I want them to be able to feel like they're in charge of the interview. So I will say at the beginning, why don't you tell me what you want me to know about you, or what do you want readers or the audience to know about you, and let them have control over that interview for at least the first 5 minutes, And oftentimes they'll tell me something then that I never would have thought of asking. It becomes sort of like, oh, they're offering these things up, or they're trying to dispel something that people might assume about them or think about them, and that way they get a chance to sort of be empowered to say, okay, here's my take on my own story, not just me guiding them as they go along. And then trying to find a place that's comfortable for them to do an interview. I don't ever want to interview them in my office or across from my desk. I want to go, I usually want to be in their bedroom if I can get it as far as I want. But if I can't get there, I'll be like, okay, can I be in your kitchen? Can I be on your porch? Can I be in your office? Can I walk the dog with you? Can I go grocery shopping with you? Whatever it is that they're doing in their life, if I can be along for the ride, then they're a little bit more comfortable than just sitting there like throwing questions at them, across from a notepad or something like that. And a lot of times that gives you a little more insight into that person too. If you can see where they work or where they live or where they wash their dishes or whatever it is about their life, you can learn things from people, from their environment. And if you get into their personal space, it's so much better, than just being somewhere neutral or meeting at a coffee shop or something like that. So, and I think, you have to kind of get people on their level too. Like kids, I've learned, teenagers, is so much easier to interview them like while they're playing a video game and they're engaged in something else. They won't open up and talk to you. Old people, I often ask them to show me a photo album because it brings back all these kind of memories and sort of personalizes the background. Even if it's not going to be part of the story necessarily, it sort of illuminates who they are and gives you a perspective about them. So kind of letting them set the scene with some personal pieces really helps. And then the other piece of it, I think, is, either letting people know, like, I understand, I've experienced what you've experienced in a certain way. I did this story about a woman her and her husband were splitting up over this weird thing, but I said, oh, when me and my husband were having hard times and he moved out for a little bit, share that with them so they know you have a connection. But if it's something that you can't possibly understand, admit that, oh my God, your kid just got killed. I absolutely can't imagine how that must feel. Not try to say, I'm sorry for your loss, or you poor thing, or that must be hard. Don't assume that you can even understand it. Just give them that permission of like, I can't imagine, and then they kind of have to fill in the blanks. And I think that's another part of it too, is sometimes just shutting up. And because if someone doesn't answer your question or there's a silence between you, you feel like as an interviewer, you should have to fill that in. But if you can make yourself shut up and let the silence hang, they'll often offer something more or deeper or some insight that you wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. So I think that's an important part that we forget, or that I forget sometimes, is just letting the silence hang,